Hello and welcome to this video. Today's video is brought to you by the letter B. B as in Blade Runner. Yes, today's video is going to be about the 1982 Ridley Scott masterpiece, Blade Runner. Very loosely based on Philip K. Dick's Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, which in and of itself is a noteworthy novel and worth time to pick up and read. At some point, I will probably come and do a video based simply on that novel or doing a retrospective or a review of the novel. But until then, we are going to do Blade Runner. The movie stars Harrison Ford, Edward James Olmos, Rucker Howard, and Sean Young. It is a very good movie. It is what they call a neo-noir science fiction movie. Neo meaning new, noir meaning black or dark. The term noir was applied to a lot of movies in the 30s, 40s, or 40s and 50s, excuse me, not the 30s. Movies that had dark tones or were sinister in nature carried that title of noir. And over time, it's just become a style of filmmaking. The movie, as well as the novel, are set in a dystopian future. The year is 2019 in the movie. The Earth, it's constantly raining. It's almost always dark. You have the Tyrell Corporation, which supplies androids to people that have migrated off Earth because Earth is basically dying. In the movie, it doesn't explain why, it doesn't explain what's going on. But in Philip K. Dick's novel, it refers to World War Terminus, or the last war. It basically terminated the planet. The planet is dying. Pets, horses, cows, sheep, things like that have been replaced by their android counterparts. If somebody had the money or somebody came across a actual living, breathing animal, even as something as minute as a spider or a cockroach, they were either very rich or were fixing to be very rich. These androids in the movie are called replicants. In the novel, they're referred to as Annies. The Blade Runner unit was set up before the start of the movie to combat these replicants if they're caught on Earth. And the reason why they had to set it up is because at some point prior to the movie, there was a bloody massacre, a android rebellion, and they were deemed too unstable or whatever, too dangerous to be on Earth. So they're on your off-road world colonies. This movie takes place when a group of them, led by Roy Batty, which is Rucker Howard's character, basically stage a coup, kill a bunch of folks, and come back to Earth. What they do is they want to extend their lifespan, which is only 4 years. The Tyrell Corporation, which created them, put a lifespan of 4 years simply to manage them, to ensure that these super strong, super intelligent, super agile, super murderous creations of theirs didn't take over. Um, the main character, Richard Deckard, who in the movies retired, divorced, is basically reluctantly forced into his old job. Captain Brian, his old captain, makes a comment about either you're a cop or you're little people, which basically means either you're a cop doing what we want you to do or you're a victim. And Richard Deckard did not want to be a victim, so he reluctantly joins back up. As you go through the movie, he hunts down the replicants and kills them. Except in this dystopian future, they're not. It's not called murder. It's not called killing. They have PC'd the fuck out of it and call it retirement. Sounds kind of familiar in the world today. So he retires. He retires them. The first one he retires is a character called Zora, who's working as a stripper. The next one he retires is Leon, who's working at Terrell Corporation, or actually has been fired from Terrell Corporation. That at the very beginning of the movie, I'm not going to spoil it. They find out that he's a replicant. Then the next one he gets is a character named Pris, who's played by Daryl Hannah of all people. Little trivia fact: Daryl Hannah broke her forearm while filming the movie. And kept on trucking like a true actor and through her scenes with a broken arm. And at the end of the day, she went to the hospital and had it repaired. Um, then you have the final showdown between Roy Batty and Richard Deckard. And the way it's played out is you don't know if, because there are things that Roy Batty's character shouldn't know about Deckard that he does. And the banter between the two, or I should say the one-sided banter coming from Roy, reveals this. Now in the director's cut, final cut, and other ones, you have the famous dream sequence with Deckard dreaming about a unicorn, and at the end of the movie, Edward James Olmos' character, Gaff, leaves an origami unicorn in Deckard's apartment. The some people use that as an indicator that Deckard is in fact a replicant. Um, I mean, it's very up in the air at that point. Spoilers: Deckard winds up killing or actually not really killing Batty. Batty kind of just comes to the end of his lifespan and shuts down. You've got the wonderful soliloquy that he gives, the Tears in the Rain soliloquy. I can't talk here. Is probably one of the greatest sci-fi film things or moments, and it was all ad-libbed by Rutger Hauer. It was great. It's just one of those things that lives on. And in the original theatrical cut, you have the happy ending, which the studio made Ridley Scott go back and film, in which Deckard and Rachel, another replicant that is introduced at the very beginning of the movie, which I was trying to keep from spoiling, but I wound up spoiling, flees, and supposedly they live happily ever after until we get the Blade Runner 2049, which released last year. So yeah, it is what it is. And director's version and versions after that, you don't have it cuts when Deckard and Rachel at the end of the movie enter the elevator and the elevator door shuts. That's when the movie ends. Other differences is in the original theatrical cut and in the international theatrical cut, you have the voiceover, the infamous Harrison Ford voiceover, which some people claim that Harrison Ford kind of intentionally tried to screw it up. And Harrison Ford in interviews has always said that he tried his best. He did his best to do it. It's one of those things that's debatable. All of the versions of Blade Runner that I have the final cut, which has both theatrical versions, the director's cut, final cut, and the work print. I love all of the versions for different reasons. I'm really partial to the director, or not the director's cut, the theatrical cut, because that is the cut I grew up on. From 1981 to 1992, when the director's cut came out. I enjoy the director's cut because of this added scenes, things of that nature. The international theatrical cut I enjoy because, let's face it, it's international and there's a little bit more blood and violence, a little bit more profanity, so it doesn't offend the poor American audience. And the work print is so different from the actual movie that we got. It's the same story, it carries the same themes, but there are scenes that are in the work print that are so different, so far that it's the same movie, but it's almost its own little sub movie. It's great. There's scenes that I would love to see a version when they add the scene, the deleted scene where Deckard goes to visit a former coworker that was shot and is on life support, and talks to him. That on the final cut DVD collection, which has all the extras and all the really good stuff like that, it has the scene, but they don't have it in any of the versions of the movie, which I think it would fit. I really enjoy the scene. And for home theater now, where you can pause it, get up, use the bathroom, cook dinner, whatever you need to do. Um, it's it wouldn't be that bad thing. You don't have to worry about length. If you do, a special, is a special version in a DVD set or something, scenes like that, because let's face it, you're at home. You've allocated the time, the 2.5, 3 hours, whatever, to watch this movie. Um, that's what I really like about the Alien DVD. You have both the theatrical and the director's cut, and they're both good. But that was a past video. Go back and look for it. Actually, I will put a link to the Alien video I did a while back in the description down here, and so you can check it out. This movie, like Alien, impacted me as a young person. 1982, I was 12 years old. And this was another movie that I somehow managed to talk my mother into letting me go see. Um, uh, Even though it had boobies in it, bare female boobies, and I was at that age that, well, boobies meant something. I actually started to mean something. That's when I became cognizant of the fact that women and males and females are shaped different, and started to appreciate the reason why they're shaped different. So, as I said, this is a good movie. If you're a sci fi fan and you haven't seen this movie yet, Why? If you're new to sci-fi and you're not sure about it, watch it. It's a good movie. Also, go back and pick the novel up and read it. They have the novel has a lot of the same themes in it, some of the same thoughts going on, and I think somebody if you're watching Blade Runner, you're intelligent enough to handle Philip K. Dick. His books are wonderful. He's probably one of the reasons his books of any American sci-fi author have been the most translated into film. Minority Report, Total Recall, all Philip K. Dick books. There's bunches of them out there that have been converted into really good movies. They do stray a bit from the source material, but they hold the theme and the idea and of all that stuff as one. So, with that, I will wrap this video up. I could go on forever and ever on the merits of this movie and how much I like it, but YouTube doesn't allow for the uploading of movies that go on forever and ever and ever. So, until next time, peace, love, joy.